Welcome. Thanksgiving is a holiday filled with tradition. It's a time spent with family and friends. It's a time for all of us to stop and reflect upon all of the things in our lives that we're really wonderfully thankful for. As people across the country prepare for the Thanksgiving holiday, the eyes of our nation turn to Plymouth, Massachusetts, America's hometown. Almost 400 years ago, 102 brave separatists sailed off to the New World in a wooden merchant vessel and landed on our shores. A year later, in 1621, what we've come to call the first Thanksgiving took place, and it was a gathering of native people and English colonists. Today, people come from all over the country to celebrate Thanksgiving in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and join in on the event sponsored by America's Hometown Thanksgiving Celebration. It's a weekend-long festival of history, community, and heritage. Through concerts honoring our military and a parade chronicling the Pilgrim legacy, spectators leave with a sense of history and being connected together. Welcome to PAC TV's coverage of the annual America's Hometown Thanksgiving Parade. Whether you're watching us on television or online, live or over the Thanksgiving holiday, we hope you enjoy your time with us. The theme that is woven throughout today's parade is I Have a Dream. From coming to the New World in search of religious freedom to coming together today to make this nation and this world a better place, one that celebrates our diversity, our differences, and our beliefs. We all have a part in making the dreams of our nation and our international community come to fruition. America's Hometown Thanksgiving celebration is going to begin in just a few moments. Events leading up to the parade include performances, presentations, and an incredible reenactment of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, presented by Reverend Joseph Howard, who is visiting us from Atlanta. Oh, I think I see our friend Bob McNeil. Bob McNeil is kicking off everything on the waterfront as we speak. I think we're going to turn it over to him right now. Thank you so much, and I look forward to joining you after the opening ceremonies.
And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you a wonderful, wonderful musician who entertained us last night at Memorial Hall. His name is Charlie Zahm. He's one of the most popular soloists at Celtic music festivals, maritime and American traditional music events east of the Mississippi. With a baritone voice described as coming along once in a generation, he now sings songs of our heritage. Let's give him a hometown welcome, Charlie Zahm!
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a land of freedom, truly blessed by God above. From sea to shine and sea she flies, the flag we dearly love. But there were those that bought that freedom, and a price they dearly paid. And the bravest and the best of us still pay for it today. Somewhere across the ocean, in a place so far from home, a boy will miss his bride tonight as she sleeps all alone. But he's driven by his duty, and he answers to the call to protect those that he loves so dear and those he doesn't know at all. And I thank God for that young soldier somewhere across the sea, standing at his midnight watch to protect my family. And won't you bless that weary sailor, make sure that he's all right. Say a prayer for a soldier tonight. They come from Mississippi, West Texas, Cheyenne. Our farmers' sons, they get it done, the finest of our land. And they'll march till they are weary, stand fast when day is through. And when they lay their heads for sleep, their final thoughts are you. thank God for that young soldier somewhere across the sea, standing at his midnight watch to protect my family. And won't you bless that weary sailor, make sure that she's all right. Say a prayer for a soldier tonight. To the ma and pa who miss him, our hearts go out to you. You know we miss him too. I hope he's with you soon. So as I look across these valleys and the fields of wheat and corn, I know somewhere a soldier dreams of a West Virginia morn, and he'll dream about his true love, the one he misses all the time. And with the morning sun his rest is done, he'll rise to fall in line. And I thank God for that young soldier somewhere across the sea, standing at his midnight watch to protect my family. And won't you bless that weary airman, make sure that she's all right. Say a prayer for a soldier tonight. And I thank God for that Marine who sleeps beside his guns, wishing he was home tonight and with his little ones. And won't you bless that little girl's daddy on desert sand so bright. Say a prayer for a soldier tonight. Say a prayer for a soldier tonight. Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Zaum, one more time. Give him a nice round of applause.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to ask us all to stand up as Charlie shares his rendition of our national anthem.
Gentlemen, please uncover. Stand if you can. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Charlie Zaum, ladies and gentlemen.
God bless you. Thank you.
You may be seated. And now we'd like to introduce Dr. Paul Jaley, Executive Director of Plymouth Rock Foundation and a Mayflower descendant, as he leads our Pilgrim delegation from Plymouth Rock. The Pilgrims represent those from the Leiden congregation and others who came on the Mayflower. The candle lighting ceremony symbolizes the Pilgrims' faith that brought them here to these shores. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Paul Jaley.
Today's parade has a sub-theme of having a dream. When the Pilgrims came here in 1620, they had a dream. They wrote it down, and they said this, that they would come here, not the least of which to propagate and advance the gospel of the kingdom of Christ into these remote parts of the world. Yea, though we would be even as stepping stones unto others for the performing of so great a work. The Pilgrims had that ideal to come. They believed that because God had shed abroad his grace to them, they ought to shed that grace to other people. People should be treated the way you wish to be treated yourself. As they began to operate by that, they said that by God's grace, they began to reform their own lives. They began to change. And as we see across our land today, this needs to be remembered. For we are here to remember why the Pilgrims came. They came here because of their faith. They came here knowing that that faith would grow in their hearts and they would see change happen in their lives as well as others. We live in a land today where we once need to see again that one small candle as we light this candle representing the faith that brought the Pilgrims from England to these shores in Holland. We want to say again to everyone here, that light can kindle in your heart as well. And it shouldn't be that in America today we need to proclaim civility, but in fact we do. Would you all agree we need that kindness and love to spread in a greater proportion than we are seeing in our land today? And because of that, we come, and the words of William Bradford, and when he said greater things have been done by his hand, it gives all things to nothing, being to things, and as all things that are. And as one small candle may light 1,000, so the light here kindled hath shone unto many. Yea, in some sort, to our whole nation, let the glorious name of Jehovah have all the praise. And now we will light the candle that will burn during America's hometown Thanksgiving celebration, showing that one act and one kindness and the faith in our hearts toward God can change many.
Ladies and gentlemen, our festivities have officially been opened. Thank you, Dr. Jaley, and the accompanying pilgrims. And now I'd like to introduce no stranger to this parade. He's been here faithfully year after year, as well as serving us as a community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, if you will, Congressman Bill Keating, as he reads the Governor Baker's proclamation for Massachusetts Day of Civility, today, November 17th. Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Keating.
And thank you all for being here. And as we gather here today to share this proclamation, let us give our gratitude to those first responders, police, fire, EMTs, and our military all over the world, many of whom will not be spending their Thanksgiving with their families. Let us all keep them in our prayers, and let us all join together for a proclamation from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Whereas it's time to return to the basics and treat others the way we ourselves would like to be treated. And whereas restoring civility and showing respect by demonstrating small gestures of kindness, that they go a long way toward reestablishing trust, forgiving goodwill, and advancing relationships in our fast-paced society. Whereas a statewide Day of Civility will heighten awareness of the appropriate conduct and civilized business and social behavior in our daily lives, and whereas a Day of Civility will bring respect and consideration to the forefront, heightened awareness that treating others with unexpected kindness and respect every day is contagious and key to assuaging real-time challenges which confront society as a whole. Especially today, we create an awareness of behavioral standards and codes of conduct socially and in business, and reinforce the guiding principle of the golden rule: stimulate renewed awareness and comportment and respect while generating goodwill and positive energy. Elevate Massachusetts' profile in all the most positive ways. And whereas this day is a call to every person in every company and family, large and small, to participate in a random act of kindness and go out of their way to make another feel acknowledged, valued, and special. Now, therefore, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 17th, 2018 to be a day of civility, and urge all citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Now, in the spirit of this, look to your right and left, look forward and back, and do something to show your citizenship and civility this day as we look forward to Thanksgiving here in America's hometown. Let's shake hands, let's acknowledge each other, and let's make this a special year of civility. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, the keystone of this year's theme, I Have a Dream. I am very, very proud to announce to you Reverend Joseph Howard. He's been memorizing this speech since he's been 9 years old. He hails from Atlanta, Georgia, and he serves as the associate pastor of Mount Ephraim Baptist Church and youth pastor to Mount Olivet Missionary Baptist Church. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Pastor Joseph Howard. I have a dream.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. 50 years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope for millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was the promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. And so we've come to cash this check, a check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. And those who hope that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content would have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But there is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protests to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. And the marvelous new militancy, which has engulfed the Negro community, must not lead us to a distrust of all white people. For many of our white brothers, as evidenced by their presence here today, have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. They have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone. But as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies, heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of the cities. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating for whites only. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro in Mississippi cannot vote and the Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I am not unmindful that some of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from where your quest for freedom have left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. So continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to Georgia. Go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. And let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right down in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain will be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. And this will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America's to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring from the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire. Let freedom ring from the mighty mountains of New York. Let freedom ring from the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania. Let freedom ring from the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado. Let freedom ring from the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring. And when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it rain from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Joseph Howard. Thanks for keeping us going, brother.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, welcome. We're so excited to be back. We're still watching some of the events on the waterfront here for America's Hometown Thanksgiving celebration. Thank you all for joining us, whether you're watching us live or whether you're watching us over Thanksgiving weekend and the holidays. We are so happy to be able to bring this parade to all of you. My name is Donna Rodriguez. I'm here with PAC TV. I'm joined by Dr. Paul Jaley and Representative Matt Moratori.
Great to be here again.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be here. Great energy on the waterfront, too. Paul and I just came up from the waterfront. It was just, what a great crowd, great energy.
It doesn't hurt to have such sunshine.
Oh, my God, beautiful weather. Yeah, beautiful.
After a lot of rain in New England, and northern New England, and some unexpected early snow,
some early snow.
We had the perfect day to celebrate this incredible parade. It really is a celebration of our history.
It really is. And you know, chronologically, to have a chronological parade that deals with the divisions and starts with, of course, this the Native Americans, the Pilgrims coming here and the reason they came. Yeah, this is a unique feature of America's Hometown, wouldn't you say?
And it's all done by volunteers, too,
which is
great shout out to the volunteers.
Something I don't know that people realize, that this is such a huge event, and it's been voted the top Thanksgiving parade in the country by AOL Travel. People travel from around the country and around the world, literally, to visit this parade, that everything is done by dedicated volunteers who come back year after year after year.
And now, you know, we had 35 states, some like 7 or 8 foreign countries last year, and it looks like there's a lot of people from out of state. You said you saw a lot of people
walking down there to the waterfront, seeing the cars from all over New England and New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Virginia. They're from all over the place.
And if you're watching us live, take a look at, there are a lot of ways you can see what's happening this weekend and what's happening right now. Visit America's Hometown website at usathanksgiving.com. Certainly go to pactv.org/parade, and you can see all of our replays as well, that you can share this event with your families over the Thanksgiving holiday. And last but not least, don't miss PAC TV's Facebook page to be able to get, some direct feedback about what's happening right now.
And actually, I think they're even on plymrock.org, plymrock.org. They are actually live streaming as well with an ASL interpreter.
So
how's that? That's amazing.
So there are so many ways to watch what's happening.
Yes.
I think we're anticipating the parade arriving fairly soon to the waterfront for folks who are watching. It's about a 2.5 mile route that the parade has been traveling, while we've had the opportunity to see a lot of really fantastic events and performances on the waterfront.
Yes, and you can see there, even in the grandstand right behind it, you've got a lot of people that they're just enjoying the sunshine, but also it's recounting the history. I think one of the best things to do every year is remember. You know, go back and say, look, we have so much to be grateful for, so much to thank God for in a country like ours, and let's pause and remember that. That's what Thanksgiving should be all about.
Absolutely.
And the Plymouth Rock Foundation is one of the founding sponsors of this entire event. And as the executive director of the Plymouth Rock Foundation, would you like to speak a little bit to the theme for this year, the I Have a Dream
Yes, even
theme?
as we're watching a little flyover there that's coming from right on the waterfront there. But yes, Plymouth Rock Foundation is an historic organization, started in 1970 at the 350th anniversary, and we're almost at the 400th now.
Yeah, 2 more years.
And
we're almost there.
The whole theme of I Have a Dream, of course, it's the 50th anniversary, the unfortunate assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as we saw in the opening ceremony, we had that speech actually reenacted. And but the idea of the dream of the Pilgrims when they came, the dream of other immigrants ever since. Why do they flood into America? There's this dream of a better life, dream of the freedom, the protection of religious freedom, civil freedom, and those kinds of things that draw people here. And that's one of the things that we like to feature and highlight and say, hey, going back to the Pilgrims, so the Pilgrims couldn't envision America as it is today. The seeds of what they came and what they wanted, we're enjoying it. And I tell you, it's unique. It's something to be thankful for.
Would you like to give our viewers a couple of hints about what they're, well, actually, you know what, let's hold up, because I wonder if the parade is almost arriving. It looks like when we see our feed from the waterfront that our friends from Blue Sparrow, or Sparrow Blue, music, are just finishing up with their performances. And Bob McNeil, who is giving our color commentary on the waterfront, is speaking to everybody who is on the hill.
How about a nice round of applause for our community TV channel, PAC TV, all their cameras, all their technicians. They're all over the parade route. We thank you, faithful as ever. Thank you, Dan and Donna. We appreciate your entire team. And how about our event staff and our security partners? Let's have a nice round of applause, keeping us safe and orderly. And ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, he's been here faithfully year in, year out. Robbie Jarvis on sound with Joe as his technician. Thank you, Robbie and Joe. Appreciate it. Hey, perfect timing, just like we practiced. All right. Listen, I just want to remind you that today we have in the back the food alley, truck food alley. They're just over here to your right, my left, and there's food of every kind you can imagine. So make sure you step over there and join our vendors and enjoy it. Today, right after the parade, we've got the crafters tent, we've got the children's pavilion, and we also have a beer and wine garden. So while you guys are imbibing, the children can get their faces painted and do some crafts. We also have the historic reenactment village over at Brewster Gardens. You can go right up and meet up close and personal, the Wampanoag, the We Too Pavilion. You can meet all of the different reenactors throughout the parade. They'll be over at Brewster Gardens as well. Go and take as many pictures as you want. But we've got a fun-filled day, and even through tomorrow, the farmers market, 11 to 4, I believe. Make sure you stop by and thank our craft. Our crafts also are in the tent behind this immediate tent, just beyond the curve, behind.
So we're seeing on the waterfront,
The
they're
statue.
talking to all the folks who are on Coles Hill, and it's so exciting to see Coles Hill completely fill.
Right.
From when it first starts at 10 a.m., you
Yeah.
see folks who already have their spaces picked out each and every year. But as the day goes on, it just fills and fills. And in a moment, we're not even going to be able to see any grass on that hill. It's just going to be smiling faces of families who are there. Bob McNeil is the gentleman who sang The Impossible Dream for us during the
Right,
opening ceremonies. Also is a wonderful color commentary who is on the waterfront every single year. So we love working with him.
Yes.
And for those of you who are watching live, you can visit usathanksgiving.com to find out about more of the things that are happening this weekend, the weekend before Thanksgiving. So there are lots of events for families, for kids, for everybody on the waterfront. Then today is really, it's kind of the jewel in the entire weekend is the parade.
Right, exactly. And people really look forward to that. It's a great family event. And you know, when I got there very early, I was there a little bit before 7 a.m. this morning, and you have people lined up at the base of Coles Hill. They're the same people every year. They say, hello.
Good to see you, Dr. Jaley.
Exactly, you know, so.
When we were walking back here to get here at what, 10:45, cars were still coming in town. I don't know where they think they were going to park, but they were still coming in droves.
Amazing. It's amazing.
And it's really wonderful to have seen this event grow year after year. And I think it is becoming a national tradition, not just a local tradition. Clearly,
That's right.
they estimate 150 to 250,000 people attend this parade and these events every single year. And as we lead up to 2020 and the
I was just gonna
400th
say that. Can you
anniversary
imagine?
of our country, there is more to share with the nation. For those of you who are interested, also, we recommend that you take a look at Plymouth 400 Inc. To find out about the celebrations that are happening for our 400th anniversary. Those are events that are happening now. Some are going to be happening this weekend before Thanksgiving and traveling up through 2020.
Yeah, events are going to get more and more prolific, and especially in 2020. And let's not forget 2021.
Right, yeah,
Because
exactly.
that will be the big 400th anniversary.
You know, for
The first Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Yes.
In 2020, they're expecting triple the amount of visitors usually that come to Plymouth. Somewhere around 7 or 8 million. Can you imagine what the parade is going to be like in 2020? How many people? If we're seeing 150,000 now, what are we going to see then?
We don't even know where to put them now. But
No,
the point is, it's
exactly.
still a lot of fun because people
It
walk
is.
a mile with their lawn chairs in November in Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And you can see there's still room on Coles Hill.
And along the parade route.
Yes.
But it's really fascinating to I know living locally as a Plymouth resident, I learn more and more about our country's history each and every year, being involved with Plymouth 400, being involved with America's Hometown Thanksgiving celebration. And this parade, as well as all of the commemorations that are happening through Plymouth 400, I think are a wonderful opportunity for us to remember where we came from and to be able to make decisions about where we want to go from here.
Exactly. Anytime you study history and you look at it, every single event in history has some very good things, but you also, because they involve people, can have some strange things. And we all learn from history. And that's the goal of doing that is we learn. We can say, hey, this is an event I would like to emulate. This is something you shouldn't do. But that's how we take a holistic view of every event and we can deal with it. And of course, the way the Pilgrims would look at it, under the providence of God, that was the whole idea. Choose the best thing that you can see that happened and then give that to your children.
Yeah, right.
And that's why even with heading towards 2020, we don't call 2020 the Plymouth 400 a celebration. We call it a commemoration because there were absolutely amazing and wonderful things that happened. As we started talking about people having a dream and wanting to find freedoms, and at the same time there were some challenging and very difficult things that have happened in our history. So it's a commemoration and recognizing all of the good we did, but also the things that we as a country need to learn from.
And that will be the legacy coming from 2020, I think, is what we're going to teach our children and our grandchildren in the school systems of what was a real story that really happened. And that's okay to tell the real story.
Oh, no, absolutely. And you tell it, and basically, parts of the story have always been told, but you want to really make sure it's a holistic.
Exactly.
So I think we're here now. And
Here we
yeah.
go. So we're kicking off the parade.
Rotary.
Our friends in the parade are arriving down at the waterfront right now, and what we're seeing to start off every year is the Plymouth Rotary Clubs. They work every year since America's Hometown Thanksgiving Celebration is a nonprofit organization. We always try to support and raise funds each and every year for the next year's parade and the next year's commemorations and celebrations. So our friends at the Rotary are out there collecting donations and smiling. They always are giving service above self.
I love that phrase because that's really what this was all about. That's what the original ideal of the Pilgrims was.
That's
Let's
correct.
serve, and this is not just for us, it's for our children. Now here's another flyby as well. So.
And so this parade really celebrates, there are so many things that happen with this parade. We talk about our history from the 1600s through today. We also celebrate our veterans and people who have given service over the years to our country, including local residents and people who are notable through our history. And we also celebrate some of our culture and our music through things like our drum and bugle corps. And I think as we have coming up behind the Rotary Club, usually we have some of the rolling carts that are saying, "Welcome to the parade," and America is just giving thanks over the years for being here. And it's an opportunity for all of us to celebrate together and give back and give thanks for everything we have in our lives.
You know, and the thing is that people need to remember that America was built on volunteerism. Every major event, community members would come and volunteer. They weren't trying to say, this is what I need to get from it. This is what I want to give. And so giving to your community is as American, as they say, as apple pie. But it is an American tradition. And that's why we have some of the freedom we have. You can't have that if nobody's willing to give. You wouldn't have this parade.
That's right.
If you didn't have volunteers.
Just going to say that. It's all
willing to do
volunteers
it.
that do this.
Yeah.
And it's a theme of this community as well. I'm very proud to be a resident of the Plymouth County and be able to be a part of a number of the different organizations because we really do work together. And I think we are, I'm very happy to be a part of a community that everybody does work together and support one another.
This rolling car, these are two reenactors from Boston.
Okay.
See, this is the type of thing. They volunteer,
And people
they
come
down,
from all
and what
over
are they
the
pushing?
country.
They're pushing that cart.
Giving thanks and giving back.
Right.
Throughout this parade, we're going to be able to see themes that really play to that. And we have a wonderful train that collects donations for food pantries throughout the entire region in southeastern Massachusetts that we'll get to see a little later. As we walk our way through, we're seeing a number of the folks who are just kicking it off and saying hello to everybody in the audience. So they've already been through a part of the route, being able to welcome everybody to this year's parade. They're going to be followed by the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department Honor Guard, as well as this state-mounted police unit. They usually kick off the parade for us each and every year.
Yeah, and it's great to have those kind of units being, again, willing to come here and to do that. And so you have the mounted police, and I think you have the Boston Gaelic column pipes as well.
We do. So we're going to have one of our first performances very soon, and as soon as they start to perform, we will stop talking so everybody at home can listen to how amazing they are as well. But the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department, their honor guard, this honor guard was formed in 1997, but the Plymouth County Sheriff's Department can be traced back to Miles Standish with the Pilgrims in 1620. It is one of the oldest law enforcement agencies in our country.
Yes, and that's the amazing thing about a parade like this, because it dates back to the beginning of New England, particularly. And of course, the people from Virginia always say, "Don't forget Virginia." But see how the ornate, every single cart, everything that's pushed down the street.
And all of this is donated, and all of the time is donated. And I think right here, I believe this is our Sheriff's Department walking, and then they are going to be followed by our state-mounted police unit.
Yes, and you have here the Boston Gaelic column pipes. Here's the Sheriff's Department again, and the Boston Gaelic column pipes, they formed in 1992. And they honor the memory of those in law enforcement, and particularly, this has happened over and over in America when someone gives their all, gives the ultimate sacrifice in duty. Then we say, look, we don't forget. One thing about America, we don't forget.
Here they are.
And here's the column pipes and drums. Let's listen to them.
And we will say thank you and take a listen.
Law enforcement who have given the ultimate sacrifice their all. Ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Gaelic column pipes and drums. State Mounted Police Unit. We're grateful to all who serve and protect the public. It is great to have them with our parade this year. Thank you, gentlemen. Coming right behind them.
And right behind them, I think, Matt,
Here
we've
we
got
are,
our
parade marshals, Channel 5, WCVB TV's, anchor Randy Price, Antoinette Antonio, with meteorologist Cindy Fitzgibbon, who gave us a great weather day today, and traffic anchor Alessa Stepanova.
They are
Yeah,
such
they are.
partners to this parade, and we love working with them as one of your
I think
key
this is
media
their
partners
10th
every
year of doing this, too.
And look at this. This is a thematic history
Yeah.
float where they
Yep.
have people from every age. And look at the page of the book there.
History comes alive.
And that's the I Have a Dream
Have a
speech.
dream speech, yeah.
And it's the
yeah.
perfect way to kick off this parade for the theme, but also this parade literally, and I don't think I can say this enough, is history coming to life on our streets.
Yes, yeah,
And you know, that's the
totally.
interesting thing, the historic parades back in the Middle Ages. The scenes would float by.
And there they are.
That's
And
what
there
we
are
got, the floats.
And I think we're going to have our
think we're
friends
gonna hear
from the
from
morning
Randy, yeah.
team.
Yeah.
They have as much fun, I think,
Yeah.
being here as we have with them coming.
I think
They
Randy will
take
get
pictures
the
through
Randy
the
will
roof.
get the crowd pumped up, even more so.
So we're going to turn it over to the waterfront so Randy can talk to everybody.
All right. It's always great to be in Thanksgiving territory, Plymouth, Massachusetts. Good morning from Plymouth. Thank you all. Great to see everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Eye Opener. And directly behind.
And thank you to our friends at Channel 5. And I'm going to tell Randy, we've got the bloopers saved for them because we were live.
Sure do, yeah.
They always
right.
are
That took
such
a
a
bit.
wonderful partner, and we really enjoy working with them, as well as all of our friends at America's Hometown Thanksgiving. So as we see this float continue along, our friends, our parade marshals, are stepping up into the review stand. And right behind them, I believe we have the Plymouth High School band.
That's right. Now, that's our very own local band.
North
And
and
it's-
South together.
Yeah.
We have two high schools. It's the largest town in the Commonwealth, and these students range from grades from 8th through 12th. They are incredibly talented young people, and we're going to go take a listen to them on the waterfront.
Once again, Plymouth High School, North and South. And next is our mutual bank, who are sponsors of the We Too float that portrays the Wampanoag Nation here thousands of years before the Pilgrims. Thank you, Mutual Bank, for your sponsorship, and thank you for the We Too. This depicts 1600 and earlier. The We Too float was created to replicate the coastal dwellings of the early Wampanoag tribes in honor of the original inhabitants of this land.
Yeah, so here we have the beginning of the floats. The historic floats will chronicle from early 1600s and then all the way to the present day. And so we have the We Too, the kind of dwellings that the natives had right along these shores, and sponsored by Mutual Bank.
And now we have the Mayflower 2 replica coming behind that, 1609 to 1620.
And a good example of the two cultures that really represent the
Exactly,
beginning
yeah.
of this nation.
Exactly, and not only that, look at the detail of these kinds of floats. They're really amazing.
1/20th of the original.
Exactly.
And it's we get the Pilgrims walking with them, too.
Exactly, and you're going to see a lot of pilgrims in this parade, especially in the first division. And look at the boats rocking.
Yes.
Matt, did
Appropriately.
you come over on the first?
No, I thought you did.
Oh, okay, all right. I heard a lot of people got seasick, though,
I
on that
bet.
first voyage.
I can't imagine, if you think about the size that this ship
Yes, yeah.
actually
I was
was,
just
and
gonna
traveling
say it.
across the entire Atlantic.
And only
Of course,
half
people
of
need
them
to
made
realize
it. Yeah.
It's being taken apart and put back together right now. So it's not in Plymouth, but it will be in Plymouth.
So people
next
who are
year.
interested in finding out about the restoration, because it's being done absolutely authentically.
Yes, it is.
And the way the Mayflower II, which was built in 1957, was originally built, they can go to Plymouth, PLIMOTH.org to follow this restoration. It's fascinating.
Exactly.
And as we continue, I believe we have the new Plymouth Guard, who come to us from the 1620s, because to the Pilgrim, every man was a soldier. The new Plymouth Guard is a local group of historical reenactors who are portraying the militia of Plymouth County from the 1620s. They really focus, and all of our reenactors and historians who are in the parade really focus on historically accurate demonstrations of colonial militia and military practices using the weapons, armor, and clothing of those time periods.
Exactly. And when you look at the costumes of the individuals that are coming in the attire, everything down to the rifles, to the drum itself, everything they're playing is like that because they want to bring this back authentically.
And here, right after the new Plymouth Guard, we have the Salem Trained Band, and I think they're going to be firing on the waterfront for us. They come from the time period of 1629, and they're recreating the first militia company established in the Massachusetts Bay Colony.
Woo! And right behind the new Plymouth Guard are the Salem Trained Band.
Historic Village this weekend. All
That
of the
was them,
reenactors will be there,
from
and you can meet them and talk with them and ask
Exactly.
questions about our
Walk right
history
through
directly.
a village from one time period to another. Yeah, it's really tremendous. And then we go from the Separatists who left the Church of England to come over here, and now we're getting a little bit more modern. Sprinkled through here will be these antique cars that you must remember, Matt.
No, these are your era, not mine.
But it is amazing how people keep these cars exactly the way they were. I mean, they take great pride in it.
See you in the village.
And I think
Is this our Outstanding Citizens Award?
I believe
I believe
that's
coming up very
Yep.
quickly. Yes, they're going to come up quickly, and
Oh,
we have
but we
Entergy,
may
of course,
have-
that has been sponsoring the Crusader Senior
Crusaders,
Corps from Dorchester, Mass. So this is a local group.
local.
People expect them every year, and we'll take a listen because they are pretty fabulous.
Amazing.
Right behind them, one of our feature bands every year, the Crusader Senior Corps. We welcome the Crusader Senior Drum and Bugle Corps from Dorchester, Mass. They like to say Boston, but for all the OFDs out here, let's hear it for the Crusaders! And don't forget, we can still get tickets this afternoon at Memorial Hall from 10 to 2 and 5:30 to 7:30. If you've never taken in the Senior Drum and Bugle Corps concert, you'll want to tonight. All right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the Crusaders led by Jack LaSalva.
We're going to raise the ball before the first blow. All he said is in the fourth division, this is the first. Oh, no, we are soon. Fourth, yeah. Don't have to worry, he's going to let us know anyway. Yeah.
So, as we were saying earlier, one of the main portions of this parade, in addition to our history, is some of the culture and just this long, beautiful history of drum and bugle corps. And I know they're stopping, and not everybody is able to stop.
No, they aren't.
We'd have a 3-day parade, but I think we're going to be treated by a performance from the Crusaders because they are hometown boys from Boston.
That's right. That's right.
Ready, everybody? You ready? Yeah! 1, 2. It's a mouse. 2, 3.
Crusaders, Boston's hometown boys, as they're called,
Yes.
boys and girls,
That's
men
right.
and women. And a lot of our drum and bugle corps also, they call them senior corps because it's folks who started them in the 40s and 50s and before. And today it's children and grandchildren and new folks who
That's
just have a
right.
love of this
and
music.
They just have a love of it now, and many of them are multi-generational now because they've brought in their children and grandchildren. And it's interesting, all of this drum and bugle corps music is post-World War II, when patriotism was at a peak. And that music is so patriotic in that regard.
It's beautiful, absolutely, and it's so much fun. The energy they bring to the waterfront, and I think we're going to be seeing them march off in just a moment.
And you know, the interesting thing is you have drum and bugle. These are the two symbols of the music of the military. So you have the bugle call, which is, its tune was an actual command, and the drum, which was symbol of the discipline needed for a military unit. So you've got these two elements here. But they're followed also by someone who we want to honor in Plymouth. Don't we?
Yeah, I had the great
Another
honor of
veteran.
meeting this gentleman a couple weeks ago on his 100th
There he
birthday.
is.
There's Alfred De Felice. He's a World War II veteran. He lives on his own in an over 55 community. He drives still. He told me the story about when he remembers the day General Patton got in his car accident
No
and then
kidding.
died 12 days later.
Oh,
He remembers
amazing.
where he was back in 1945.
This is what it's all about, to honor someone
Yeah.
like this that,
And
you know.
everything I've heard about Al is he is an amazing storyteller.
He's a great storyteller, yeah. He's sharp as a tack. He's
And
just
I
wonderful.
think perhaps they might have a presentation with him.
I think
we'll
they
just
may.
watch
Yeah.
and see what happens. But he is so well known locally by veterans, by community members, and people really have celebrated who he is as a person, in addition to thanking him for his service
He
over
had
the
about
years.
60 people at his birthday party a couple of weeks ago.
No,
It
that's great.
And I had the honor of presenting citations on behalf of the senator and myself, and we just had a great time with him.
No, that is phenomenal. And, you know, that's what it's all about, too.
Yeah.
When you think about the Veterans Day, then right after they're here, Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
thank a veteran.
Yeah,
And if you're around
every
your
day.
table for Thanksgiving and anybody has served,
Yeah.
do it now. You'll regret it if you wait too long.
Let's not wait
So-
just till Veterans Day to
Exactly.
do it. We should do it every day.
It's a phenomenal thing. And I guess we have Quincy College
Yeah.
here.
We
also.
do, another one of our sponsors.
Division
And we,
two now.
We haven't really had an
Fast.
opportunity to talk about that yet, but you know, you'll see, for those of you watching, you'll see banners come through the parade throughout today. And as we said, this parade happens because of volunteers, but it also happens because of sponsors. That this wouldn't be able to come down the street each and every year if it weren't for the local businesses, national businesses, and sponsors who make it happen. So
Exactly.
we thank everybody who's a part of making these beautiful floats float down the street, as you said, Paul.
Exactly. History floating by. You notice that also Coles Hill is filling in, Donna.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I don't
you
see much green anymore.
No, not at all. So, no, it's pretty amazing. So, you have this, and of course, right behind it is that first Thanksgiving float.
And I think they're helping Al have a seat in the grandstand so he can enjoy the rest of the parade. So they've taken a quick pause.
That's awesome. Here we go. Yeah. And so,
we're already into Division 2. And so this is the float that represents the first Thanksgiving that we believe took place in 1621. And at that point, it was really considered a fall harvest celebration.
That's right.
And it was kind of this gives us a snapshot in history of that time. We believe approximately 140 people gathered for that first Thanksgiving after a very difficult winter.
That's right.
And after the native people helped the colonists in their
next
first
we have
harvest,
another favorite.
in their first
The Old
planting.
Colony
So
Club. It's the oldest men's club in
we
the
want
Western
to celebrate
Hemisphere,
each
having
step.
been established in
Absolutely.
1769.
Now we have one of our oldest clubs in the country.
yes, it is the oldest men's club in the country, 1769. That was right during the American Revolution time period. But when they united the Sons of Liberty and the Loyalists together into one club, and here they represent the Victorian era when that club really got going with lots of members. So they have the top hats, and I'm a member of that club, so I have to admit it is kind of fun when we celebrate for Father's Day, first American holiday, the day the Pilgrims stepped on Plymouth Rock. Some people say, well, when was that? Well, December 11, but with the change of calendar, the 21st, and Christmas was not even a holiday at the time. So
Yeah.
it's an amazing history once again, where we have these pilgrims and like the snapshot with the natives or the first Thanksgiving.
And they
probably in
always take a
October.
moment to tip their hats to
Yes,
everybody
they do.
on
Here's
the hill.
Hip hip hooray.
There you go.
And we do that at 6 a.m. now, you know, the 22nd of December.
Oh, bless
We
you.
wake
Yeah.
everybody up and
Yeah.
along the waterfront.
I'm actually going to go this year. I got
very
invited,
good,
so I'm going
Matt.
to go this year. I got invited.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, I'll be there. I will be there.
Yeah.
And here comes a banner from our principal sponsor, Rockland Trust.
And they're
They
being
are
followed by one of, again,
Hawthorne Caballeros,
Oh.
one of the favorites.
everybody.
Out of New Jersey, yeah.
They're
German Bugle Corps.
I wonder what it took for them to get here after that
Yeah.
little hiccup of weather.
Now they were, and talking about veterans, they were formed in 1946 by a group of recent veterans. And as recently as the mid-2000s, they had been voted one of the all-time favorite drum and bugle corps groups.
Yes, and they always do a phenomenal, they take the show, so to speak. So let's listen as they go by.
Known for their Latin-inspired costumes and music, their incredible horn lines and percussion sections, and their wonderfully fun sense of drama, ladies and gentlemen, once again in Plymouth's hometown, the Caballeros!
It's a good spot right here. I think this guy on the far end has ridden a horse before in his life. Yeah, a little bit. That's a good dude.
Crusaders!
Caballeros!
Caballero is always a favorite.
Oh yeah, they
on
are,
the front.
and they will be a favorite at the concert as
lot of
well.
fun.
And I think following them now, we're well into divisions.
Yeah.
And Donna, I think coming down the street here, we've got Plymouth Magazine, another one of our sponsors.
We do, and they are coming down the waterfront just before one of our beautiful historic floats. So we want to thank the folks from Plymouth Magazine for their support, and they are followed immediately by a cornucopia, which really stands as a symbol of plenty. So it's an opportunity for us to give thanks. Originally, it was thought for people to give thanks around harvests and abundant crops, and today it's an opportunity for us to give thanks for what we have.
And I think sometimes we aren't thankful for what we have as much as we always think of what we don't have.
Right.
And what we
So
want. But
true.
think of all the countries that would love to see this.
Yes.
And see this kind of plenty.
And certainly each
Give
of
the
us
detail.
around the country have different needs, and
Oh, yeah.
different situations, but to take a minute to be thankful for what we do have in our life.
Exactly. That's the whole purpose of remembering and pondering these things. And of course, we followed here by the Highland Light Scottish Pipe Band. It's the Cape Cod's oldest pipe band. Been thrilling audiences for almost 40 years. They portray the Royal Army Infantry in 1881. They are also, these are the kind of things that are so precise to detail. They're so precise in the way they march, the way they walk, in their uniforms, and the way they play. And they may be playing as we go by.
And I think we'll take a quick listen because I don't know if they're going to be stopping. We want to hear them.
Formed in 1881, and we utilized the New England 1 and 2. Let's hear it for the Highland Light Scottish Pipe Band. Left behind them is one of our newest sponsors, Gerard's Farm in Manamet. They offer everything from sandwiches to full meals, including Thanksgiving meals, and they're sponsoring our Turkey in the Wild float. Next is a Model T car. The wild turkey must have escaped.
Yes, and that's down in Manamet, isn't it?
That's down in Manamet Beach, yeah.
And they do all kinds of Thanksgiving dinners, too.
Absolutely, yeah.
And who is this we have coming down the street now? Is this the Ancient and Honorable Artillery?
Yes, it is.
And they were chartered in 1638. They're the oldest chartered military organization in the Western Hemisphere. They've been located in Boston's Faneuil Hall since 1746. So it's just so exciting to hear the history behind all of these folks who are participating in this parade and who work together, and it's become generations and generations and families who still participate.
And this is an amazing place. If you're ever in Boston, to visit Faneuil Hall and visit this, it's a museum, and they will show you the Ancient and Honorable, a very, very famous organization, and of course have kept the tradition, the discipline alive.
And they're the third oldest military organization in the world.
Exactly. Just tremendous. And we have such history here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And you can see that museum Monday through Fridays at Faneuil Hall.
No, it's tremendous. And I think, Donna, we have another drum and bugle corps coming down the street as well.
I am super excited about just the number of groups that are participating this year. The music is amazing.
Oh, yes.
And this is the North Star Drum and Bugle Corps. They are an all-age alumni corps. They were founded in 2014, so they're fairly recent. They're from the Boston area, and they really continued the tradition of the original corps. So we're going to go down and take a listen to the North Star Drum and Bugle Corps.
Let's hear it for the North Star! Next we have Petro. It's one of the largest home heating oil companies with 100 years of experience, and we thank them for being the sponsor of the Pilgrim's Pride float.
So here we are with Petro, again, one of the banners that is coming before Pilgrim Pride. And of course, Pilgrim Pride was an actual, pilgrims all was a phrase that was used, that all of us are pilgrims. It was Samuel L. Morson, the great historian on the pilgrims and other matters, said, in some sense, Americans are all ancestors, spiritual ancestors of the pilgrims, because we're all immigrants. And here they are coming into here, and pilgrim, this head turns. It's quite an amazing float.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Kind of depicts the end of Plymouth Colony in 1690. It wasn't really the end, but it was absorbed by Massachusetts Bay, so it made it a little less distinct. But Pilgrim Pride comes again from that phrase in America.
Here comes the Harmon's Company.
Yeah, this Harmon Company, snowshoemen, you gotta think of this now. In 1724, they formed this militia unit because of the French, the threats, and they have to go in the winter across to patrol and to scout with their snowshoes. Now think of that.
That's unbelievable.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
And so here they're preserving this history, just like these other groups, and saying, now I don't see they had to wear the snowshoes today.
But this is a perfect parade for them to walk in, if you think about it. For the fall, they're always dressed appropriately.
That's correct.
Yes, that's correct.
True. And so that's quite a thing. And of course, along the parade route, a lot of them like to show their antique and rifles and show exactly how they work. I don't know if they'll be doing that, but
And here we have some of the troublemakers coming down the street.
we do.
Some of our favorites.
Is
Yes.
the Free Men of the Sea, the pirates.
Now that's the
welcome.
group that you know very well. right?
Yes. They are living history interpreters who bring the myth and reality of pirates and privateers from 1690 to 1812 to life. And their banner is being, that's the highest paper turkey seller banner, which is the Market of Pine Hills once again this year.
Wow.
So we thank them
Oh
for
my
that.
goodness, they are nonstop with
Yes,
raising money for the
yeah.
parade each and every year, which we always appreciate. They do such a wonderful job. Now, is this the Lexington Minutemen we see in front of us?
But just prior to them, there was a banner that said the word Muratori on it, I thought.
Do you see that?
Can we
Yes.
roll that back?
And we do want to take an opportunity to say, especially for folks who are local, who have an understanding of the delegation that we have that serve our communities in southeastern
Yes.
Massachusetts. We're very lucky with our representatives and senators, including you, Representative Muratori, for everything you do to support our communities.
It's a great honor, it really is.
A lot of my relatives were
But this is the
very
Lexington
familiar with
Minutemen.
that wagon.
And so the Lexington Minutemen are dedicating to honoring the brave patriots who really made the ultimate sacrifice. From people who we first lost and who first fell on the Lexington Green to our heroes of today. And their goal and their mission is really to continue telling the story of America's independence, which is why they participate in parades around the Commonwealth.
Exactly, and they're, again, same thing with the uniforms and all. When you think of those patriots who stood on Lexington Green on that day, they were all members of one congregation. Imagine their pastor standing right by, Bible in hand,
sure.
watching his men and boys. These were young
children.
men
Yeah,
as well,
young men,
you know. So these things are it is truly amazing.
And are these our friends from the Enzo Militia that I see?
Yes, and this
Coming
is,
up?
of course, dealing with the end zone militia, but they're carrying a strange little thing there called a trophy.
Oh, yeah, look at
So
that.
this is the New
We got a
England
couple
We're
trophies coming in.
mixing,
the
we're
parade.
mixing past and
Yeah.
present.
end zone militia. This is the militia, of course, that they do represent Lexington, but they, whenever there's a touchdown or anything at the
That's right.
Patriots, they're firing their muskets in the end zone.
I wonder which one that one is. Is that the latest one?
I don't know, but the point is that people around the United States aren't as happy about those things as
Right,
we are
that's
here.
right.
So
They're really going to be unhappy to see the World Series trophy shortly.
here they go. They're-
Oh, here we are,
Yeah,
firing
let's
on the
listen in.
waterfront. So even similar to our pirate friends, our Enzo militia has a sense of humor.
They do.
And they like to, keep their feet in both sides of history for past and
Exactly.
present.
And we don't have to remind people, I think it's 5 Super Bowls?
5, yeah.
Wow.
Don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble. We have friends watching us from around the country.
This is true. No, that's okay.
But wait till they see the World Series trophy.
They really hate us. Okay.
We are from Massachusetts. We definitely protect our teams and love our
right.
Where
teams.
you
Yes.
from?
Part of our
Make sure you put your
personality.
pin on the map on the other side
And
of the
these are the
Pat TV
Rehoboth
truck.
Minutemen. I think we're into Division 3.
Oh, well, we are.
So now we're getting
The
into the
Rehoboth Minutemen,
1800s
yes.
right now.
How many people
History
are
is
13th
literally
Continental
running down the
Regiment from
street.
1774.
Next to the
Originally chartered in 1774 as a town militia unit, and they were dispatched to Roxbury and Dorchester area of Boston.
They were dispatched to the Roxbury and
You know, all these
Dorchester
militia
area
units
in
are all
Boston,
local, under the authority of the
1774.
town,
Let's hear it
to defend
from
this
the
liberty.
Rehoboth Minutemen.
And so they're dressed in that time period. So we're already into the 1700s.
Yeah.
We are
And behind
heading into the
them we have
1800s any
Watertown
moment now.
Provincial Guard,
One of the things I really
1635 to
appreciate about these
1776.
reenactors and these militia
Is the
groups.
Watertown Professional Guard, Provisional Guard from 1635 to 1776.
And they're Revolutionary War
That's right.
reenactors.
That's right.
It's just the fact that they keep, and I know I've said this several times, but they keep history alive for us.
They
But
do.
each individual person who participates clearly loves the history of their region, of our country.
You go
It's
ask them
really
a question in
exciting.
the historic village, they will tell you how they cooked, they'll tell you how they slept.
And here is a part of local history and my history as well. The Gurnet Lighthouse, we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Gurnet Lighthouse. It was the original lighthouse at the entrance of Plymouth Harbor. Little known facts, in 1776, the first woman lighthouse keeper worked to keep those lights going when her husband went to fight for independence in the Revolution.
That's right.
It is the oldest freestanding wooden lighthouse in the nation. It was built in 1843. And for my family, we had a family home right near the lighthouse, and the Gurnet always meant summer to me, and for 3 generations of our family.
You don't
I always
really
loved.
remember something 250 years ago, is that what
No,
you're
that's
telling
your
me?
job. That's your job.
You remember that, Paul?
But immediately beyond the Gurnet, we have the 1812 USS Constitution Marine Guard, headquartered at the USS Constitution Museum in Boston. They interpret the period from 1811 to 1817 for us.
Tremendous. And of course, we have the Blessed Sacrament Golden Knights that are coming to us from New Jersey. And they return again year after year. We're going to listen to them as they come by. But again, look at the fabulous colors, the color schemes, the unity. Each of them have their own fan base. These drum and bugle corps, you'll see it if you ever go to one of those concerts. It's just tremendous. We'll listen to them as they come by.
Next, we have L. Knife & Sons. They are one of our principal sponsors every year, in addition to
And again, we
sponsoring
can't say
various
enough about
aspects
these
of our
wonderful
parade.
bands. And right now we have another
Yeah,
float.
this is the Cranberry Salute from 1816.
Yes, and this is, of course, sponsored by L. Knife & Sons, one of our major sponsors that helps us allow space to even build our floats.
And cranberries were served at the first Thanksgiving.
And
Back in 1816, we were the third largest cranberry growers in the
country.
world, in the world, actually.
in the world.
I think that could pick up a lot of cranberries.
Yeah.
I think you're right. One of the things I love every fall living in New England is if you go off on side roads and you're actually able to see them flooding the fields and bringing in, harvesting the
I actually
cranberries.
had the
It's
honor of
beautiful.
doing that 3 or 4 years ago out of Carver. It was
That must have been
ball doing
incredible.
that.
It's
Put the high
gorgeous.
boots on, go in there and push it all in the
I wanna
middle.
come next
It's an
time.
icon.
Wonderful.
People come all from all over the world
Yeah.
to take pictures.
And now we have another one of our floats coming down the street. This actually
by my
represents the Cedarville Red
Yeah,
Schoolhouse,
it's only my neighborhood.
the Little Red Schoolhouse, and it really is a reminder to us,
Is that
the
the
history
actual
of
Red
our
Schoolhouse?
education.
It's about that big, isn't it?
It's about that big. You're right.
It's right near the church where I'm
It
at.
is,
The
yeah.
church, so
It's about
like-
that size,
it's
right?
like- yeah, it's not bad.
But
And,
if you think about Victorian America,
Oh, yeah.
in every community it was a single schoolhouse. It was
That's
a
right,
single
that's
room
right.
schoolhouse.
Grades.
And
when you tell teachers today, all grades together and all one, oh
all
boy,
ages,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
it's a tough one. Here are the National Guard Lancers, organized in 1836, so we're now into the 1800s, well into it. Mounted escort for the governor as well as to enforce law and defend from invasion. They served, this very unit served in Civil War as well as World War I. So we're moving right through history here. And once again, tremendous depiction of history. And we have the Mounted Artillery of New England from 1841. This unit was founded in 2004 from Exeter, Rhode Island. And they pull one of the authentic horse-drawn Civil War artillery unit wagons. Amazing, even down to the very wheels, every aspect of this historically reenacted. So here we have, coming now to the Civil War period.
And it's moving along so quickly.
It's amazing. And I think even behind them, we've had in the past reenactors that deal with Ulysses and Julia Grant.
Yes.
And followed by them, of course, on horseback, are the New England Brigade. And this is a Civil War reenactment unit. And they were for liberty and union. They represent the North in the Civil War. And they are a very proud unit that was able to be with us today. We're glad to have all of these reenactment units again. Another Civil War, and they'll be at the Historic Village for people to talk to if you happen to be local.
And there's the red tractor and hayride. That's the parade director's red tractor, and it's used to, he had to pull a trailer in honor of farmers.
Yeah, the parade director, Ollie, his house is a museum.
Yeah.
And his
That's what I hear,
backyard
yeah.
is a museum, and
That's
they
what
just
I
pull
hear.
it out for the parades.
And people that are on the waterfront, or you're in and around the Plymouth area, and there's so much going on in Plymouth today, tomorrow, come on down next week. Come on down, enjoy all the activities going on the waterfront.
There are so many places you can see all the things that's going on, too. If you go to usathanksgiving.com, you can find out about everything having to do with America's hometown Thanksgiving celebrations. You can also visit Plymouth, Plymouth.com, to be able to get a full listing of everything throughout the region that's happening now and through Thanksgiving. So if you're in the area, and if you haven't been here yet, you should take a look. Because there's a lot,
And there's a lot going on even this afternoon
all
on the
the
waterfront.
time.
That's right.
Yeah, and again, if you're here this weekend, and it's the weekend before Thanksgiving, please visit, oh, what a cutie, a little alpaca. Visit usathanksgiving.com.
Well, they want you to visit those animals, too, right out on the waterfront.
They have a petting zoo for children. They have arts and crafts activities for children. They have reenactors on the waterfront. It really is just such a wonderful festival and so much to do.
And you think about the waterfront in Plymouth, look at that natural hill. It's like an amphitheater. Everybody can still see, and you can see all the children pushing up toward the gates that they are by the street in order to see it all. I think we have Curry College here.
We do, and another one of our sponsors. I'd like to recommend to any of our viewers who are watching over Thanksgiving weekend, if you were not here this weekend, take a visit to our website and find out how you can be here and be a part of this next year, because it really is exciting and so wonderful. We're also, in addition to Curry College, we have the Antiquarian Society of Plymouth following them, and descendants of the Pilgrims. There are so many ways for people to find out about the history of our nation as well as their families throughout the Plymouth area.
You know, a fact of history is those women that are there done the suffrage movement. Next year is the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage, and they are going to have a lot here.
That's going to be amazing.
Amazing.
And now we have another one of our incredible bands, the Connecticut Alumni.
They're a familiar group that is coming, Seymour, Connecticut.
So let's take a listen.
We'll take a listen to them as they come by.
Once again, the Connecticut alumni, see you tonight. Next we have the proud sponsors.
The Winslow House, this new float here, is the exact replica of the house on North Street, which is the center of the Mayflower Society. Of course, the Mayflower Society represents about 10% of the population, which are descended from the Pilgrims. And it's amazing how many thousands of people, and worldwide, they have chapters in all states. And you have, look at the detail of this recreated house right here, this historic house in Plymouth.
And you have to remember, these floats are made by volunteers.
That's right, and it's on chassis from buses. And you see that here are descendants. These are descendants from the Pilgrim. They came over in the Mayflower. And these Mayflower descendants are they're building up to the 400th anniversary also.
They are, and
Now they become the 26th Infantry Division from 1945. It's the largest Allied unit in the Northeast. It's the 26th Yankee Division World War I and World War II living history group dedicated to preserving the memory of our veterans and the greatest generation.
That's right. And we can never forget those.
No.
That is an amazing thing. I reminisce on World War II things when I visit my dad. He's in his mid-90s. And boy, I tell you, you still have a World War II vet alive.
It's amazing.
You ask them to tell every story they can and record it.
Exactly right, yeah. There are 9 vintage vehicles here from World War II.
Yes.
It looks like they're mixing in a little bit, and the fact that they are still in such amazing condition. I know as we see them coming down, there's a 5-ton cargo truck, a deuce and a half, a half truck or a half track.
That's right.
But really celebrating the people of World War II and our veterans of World War II and everything that they did to protect the world.
Exactly. You know, and you see younger people dressing up now than we've had before, and even all through the years, any child that they get in that uniform and they just, this is amazing. I'm representing my great-grandfather or my grandfather. And it's powerful.
So my dad is a Vietnam vet.
Oh, yes.
And he gave my oldest son his dog tags.
Oh,
He wears them every single day.
absolutely.
For Papa.
Absolutely.
To say thank you.
That's awesome. Yep.
So we can't thank our veterans enough.
No, we can't. No, we can't. And my daughter does the same with her grandfather's medals from World War II. Boy, she holds on to those. So here we have all these vintage World War II vehicles as they come by.
And again, I think the combination, we've got a 5-ton cargo truck, a deuce and a half, a World War II half track with machine guns. And it looks like most of them are owned locally and being driven by their owners.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very true.
And I believe they're going to be followed.
I think, yeah, it's the Massachusetts National Guard, the 215th Army.
Yes.
They're hailing from Fall River, second oldest band in the United States Army, and has been an international music ambassador for the Commonwealth on numerous occasions.
Yeah, I think they're playing as they come by the reviewing stand.
We'll take a listen.
Are you a lifer in the Coast Guard? Are you going to be?
Yeah, I just got a few more years to hit 20.
Do you really?
Yeah, I was the crew. I got just, let's see, about no more than 3.5.
And here we go.
Yeah, some more military vehicles that
World
we
War II.
mentioned. Yep.
And they're enjoying the crowd's response as they travel on. Look at all the folks who are standing up to say thank you to our veterans.
Mm-hmm. You know, I spoke with a veteran one time who came through our parade. They just were in tears. They couldn't believe all along the parade there were people standing, saluting. Oh, it was just amazing.
I think the year you guys had the Huey helicopter, that was the one I couldn't even speak. I was crying throughout. It was
Yes.
just amazing to see people's responses. As you can see, the hill is still filling. People are still coming down to follow the parade and to say thank you to everybody who's being a part of it.
They're celebrating a century of service since their establishment.
And as we move along, let's see, this is Let Freedom Ring.
Yes.
Yes, and of course this is our theme float, Let Freedom Ring. And the idea is here you have actually playing, people are hearing along the parade route Martin Luther King Jr. actually giving that speech in Washington, 1963. And it's our theme float, the unalienable right of liberty that he referred back to, the Declaration of Independence. I love that phrase, a promissory note to every individual of equality, and that is something with equal rights was just powerful. And of course we heard the rendition earlier.
Yeah, and here comes the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary Flotilla. Created by an act of Congress in 1939, has grown to over 32,000 members.
Wow. Tremendous.
And they're saluting everybody in the review stand as they come by.
Yes, we have a military division in the review stand that stands at every time the flag goes by or a military unit. So we have to put them in the right place. They're up and down.
Right.
We're not able to take a peek at those folks as we're not able to cross in front of our horses and some of our other animals on the street. But here we have our...
some amazing young men and women that belong to the Pilgrim Squadron Air Patrol, the Civil Air Patrol out of the Plymouth Airport. Some great young people who are going to do some fantastic things when they get older.
Yes. I've heard great things about what they do, their training, and great attitude.
Discipline, training, it's just,
They do so much work with disaster relief, too, supporting the Red Cross and MEMA and FEMA.
Yeah.
That's tremendous, tremendous. That's what we need, the next generation,
Yeah,
more and more. I'm thinking of
absolutely.
the next generation, not because I'm getting old, but I'm thinking of that next generation.
Well, I'm going to be showing my age in just a moment because our next group that's going to be coming down, and it might take them a second because they are dancing their way through the parade routes, is a 40th celebration of Greece.
You know, I saw that in the movie theaters when I came out 20 different times. I kept going and going and going.
That's great.
With
And you are
different
going to
people.
love this next group of folks who are
Yeah.
coming down. And it's all local young men and women who are going to be performing.
It's a local dance studio.
Yeah.
It is.
That's right.
It is, with folks from all
Tiffany
over
Prout,
southeastern Mass who are
Mateos.
performing with them.
Dance studio.
Yes, and they are sponsored by Tiffany Prout Lateo. So as
We're going to
our
be able to hear them.
I think so, but maybe I think they're going to be dancing. We're not going
think
to be
about
able to
it.
hear the
Only
music
sing.
anyway.
think
so-
about it. I know, but it's 40 years, and
Oh,
now
my gosh.
Greece is a classic film.
It is, yeah.
So in 1978,
Donna,
everybody.
I'm not going to tell you what that means.
Everybody, I wasn't in high school yet, but everybody else went back to
okay.
high
Oh,
you
school,
were in high school. Oh,
in 1978
I was.
with the
Well, Matt
pink
was,
ladies
so.
and with the T-birds and look at the cars and the dancers following around them. You know, so at the time it came out, Greece was the highest grossing musical ever.
That's right.
And 40 years later, we're all still hopelessly devoted.
Good tie-in, Donna. Good tie-in.
And think about the energy
Followed
it
with
takes to dance through the
200
entire route. They're
cars.
doing
Yeah,
a
yeah.
wonderful,
Amazing.
wonderful job.
Go Greece!
Oh my gosh. Now those cars I do recognize.
Yeah.
My father owned one like that, only green. It was not that color.
Oh, don't. Who are you kidding? You own one too.
I tell you, the antique cars are phenomenal, man.
I wish I owned one now.
Yeah.
It'd be worth something.
And I think we have some of our veterans
Yeah, we
heading
have
down the street
American
now.
Legion Post 40 and the VFW following them Post 1822. Tremendous organizations right here in Plymouth.
Yeah.
They serve. Their motto is for God and country. Fits in so well with what our theme is here. And they, again, we can't thank them enough for continuing to keep alive the memory of all these veterans of foreign wars, of dealing with their whole philosophy of good neighbors. They'll serve hundreds of dinners to our military participants right in this parade, and they'll do this not only willingly, but they want to do it. They come to us. They're so excited to be in this. And so it's once again in America's hometown, we salute their service and what they represent. And I think that we have the Mass Maritime 7th Company coming up here, but here again is VFW Post 1822 as they come by the reviewing stand.
And they have over 500 members. It's amazing.
amazing.
That's
Yeah, it is
amazing, that
amazing.
many.
But of course, following them is Mass Maritime. And Mass Maritime Academy, of course, is right down in Buzzards Bay. And they're a tremendous group there. And this is their regimental band. They put pride of the regiment of the cadets, their honor guard, their drill team, highly involved in the surrounding community. They do all kinds of performances. Let's listen. They may be playing as they come by.
Excellent.
Let's hear it!
Wow, man, here comes this giant American flag.
Party light!
So this is Party Light. We have to mention Party Light. They've been a sponsor for many years. We thank them for their sponsoring. Here's the exact replica of the 30 by 42 foot Garrison flag, which was raised at Fort McHenry and is being carried by dozens of volunteers.
Yeah, and I think this has something to do with the float that's following it. Donna, I don't understand this, but what's his?
Let's explain to people around the
let's
country
explain.
what
I don't
this
think
is.
We need
What
to
this
play
is.
nice with friends around the country. We've been very spoiled and we've been very lucky to have won several championships over the last 14
Now
years.
that's a World Series trophy.
That is,
We
yeah.
And I like
very
the
proud
picture on
of-
the back of this float.
We're
because
very
it's that
proud.
phenomenal catch
Yeah.
that was taking place in the outfield. So it's just.
I think we've had 11 parades in 16 years.
Seriously?
11 parades in 16 years, yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You don't wanna
Various
say that
sports.
Too many times, but
We-
It was 11, actually.
was 11?
Yeah, it was 11.
How many years?
16, I think it was.
We're very proud of our sports teams.
Our
We're
kids are
very-
spoiled, though.
We're
Our kids
very
don't
proud
know.
of
And who's this following of it?
Well,
This is Jerry. This is Jerry Remy.
Who, for those of you who might not be watching Boston
So Jerry was
sports,
a famous Red Sox player back in
Second
the
baseman,
70s
yep,
and 80s,
yep.
and now is I think 30 years broadcasting for the Boston Red Sox.
He is. He also has been such an example to all of us. He's been battling cancer for years.
I had the opportunity to talk with him this morning, and
Yes.
he's doing well, and his cancer is in remission again, and he's hoping to be back to the broadcast group again.
He
So
might have something
let's
to
hear
say
what he
to
has
us.
to
Let's
say.
listen.
Boston. Thanks for having me, Chris. Slide down here won't be the last. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Marty's GMC Buick. We're delighted to have Marty's.
So we're honored to have him here.
I think
with
it's
us
his first
today.
time here at the parade.
It's his first time, yeah.
But he
Yeah.
said,
Said it's not going to be the last.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I heard
right,
that. I
right,
heard
yeah.
that. I don't miss those things.
And as, believe it or not, we are heading into Division 5. And this is one of my favorite floats of the entire
Yeah,
parade.
inspired by, of course, Marty's GMC is sponsoring this, and Marty's Food Collection. And here, America's Hometown Express train, this is a massive bus chassis that was turned into a locomotive. Amazing. And this collects food along the parade route for the homeless shelter. And also, and you'll notice them with bags just coming in and collecting all these things. And this
And all
is
the people
tremendous.
walking beside it and collecting food from
Exactly.
folks.
So the 1620 Express,
Yes.
here we are. And
And it has collected literally tons of food for southeastern
thousands and
Massachusetts
thousands of meals.
families.
And what a tremendous idea. Here is a Thanksgiving parade when you're instructed to bring something to give. Now that is, you can't get any better than that.
And look at how happy everybody is to be a
yes.
part of this. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And tremendous as they collect food for others. And that's tremendous to do as well.
And here comes another drum and bugle corps, the New York
I think it's
Skyliners.
their first time here, too.
It is their first time. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary, though.
Yeah.
And they're sponsored by the American Legion Post 1523 from Staten Island, New York.
Let's take a listen.
The New York Skyliners!
Yet another incredible band.
That's great. We hope they come back again.
Well, they're
That's
supposed to be,
fantastic.
technically, they're called a corps.
A corps,
Now,
excuse me, I'm sorry.
the reason why, though, is again, is it's military history, because it was a corps that accompanied military units, and so that's why they had the drum and the bugle. Of course, many instruments have been added to that.
And that's the natural association with this parade, of course.
Exactly.
And as they're exiting, I just want to tell our audience, thank you so much for joining us today and watching. Do you know, gentlemen, we have folks who are watching in Florida, in Texas, in South Carolina, in Canada, in Nashville, Tennessee, in Albany, New York, in Atlanta, Georgia. So
Are they
folks,
still watching after the World Series parade went by?
We're playing nice with our friends who are watching from around the
The
country.
reason they should all come to Plymouth is coming up right now, though. Okay?
Yes.
This is why they should be coming to Plymouth
Exactly.
in 2020.
And they don't
Tell them
have to
why,
wait until
folks.
2020.
No, they
They
don't.
can
They
come
don't.
now. And as we come towards the end of our amazing historic parade, we are taking another opportunity to celebrate the countdown to 2020. And you're seeing Father Time countdown and two very fun characters,
Yeah,
Barnacle and
Barnacle and
Husk,
Husk.
from a children's story, celebrating some of the little creatures who might have come along with our pilgrims and who might have lived here originally. If you're interested in finding out more about 2020, about the celebrations, about the commemoration, and the events that are going to be happening around the country and in Massachusetts in 2020, please take a look at Plymouth 400 Inc. All of us work here together, so usathanksgiving.com, see Plymouth, S-E-E Plymouth.com.
And plymrock.org.
All of those websites,
Yep.
you're going to be able to find out about all of the amazing events.
And
that
they'll
are
all
coming up.
crisscross, sending each other to everybody else.
I got to tell you, these guys are having too much fun.
They are having a lot of fun.
They've been through this entire route, and they are still dancing away, excited about this
Do you know
countdown to
people
2020.
are making their reservations already for 2020?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, they're doing it. Absolutely. And of course, we have coming with us, we got the Hanover Lancers. And of course, no, this is your favorite horse unit. This is it.
Guys, the Paso Fino del Fuego horses. The
You just
Paso
like
Fino
saying
del
that.
Fuego.
You just
I've
like
been
saying
practicing
that.
it over the years, Matt. I've gotten good at it. They incorporated in 1973 by two folks, Robert and Michael. They're called the smoothest riding horse in the world for their really interesting gait and the way they travel. And they are followed by some of our friends who are getting us ready for the holidays after Thanksgiving. It looks like the Lancers are dressed to play this weekend.
I think they're actually going to, at least I think they're going to line the street to escort
wonderful.
in the last few units of the
that's
parade. Because
fantastic.
we're in Division 5 and we're in this present day, but it's linking us from the past right to the present because we're shifting gears from Thanksgiving into Christmas. And so I think you're going to see them line the parade route to escort in the final areas, and then we'll listen as they do it. And I believe you're going to see coming down the street as they do it, carolers.
We've got a lot. Victorian carols from the 1800s.
Yep. And Saint Nick. That goes
He's one of my other
He
favorites.
is, Donna, I don't know. You have lots of favorites here. So, but I think we can probably take a listen and watch as these things happen.
Okay.
Coming up behind our Hanover Lancers are our Victorian Carolers, a multi-church choir that sings Christmas carols, reminding us of the meaning of the season, marking Christ's birth. The Kingston Collection, the organization that operates the mall in Kingston, is sponsoring our next float that continues our Christmas theme. Thank you, Christmas carolers, Victorian carolers.
So from the Lancers to, you can barely see through all the
Oh my
confetti and how
God,
much
yeah.
fun they're having down there right now. I think do I see Santa? I think I might
think
see
so.
Santa.
Yeah.
It's officially
I'm
Christmas
sure
now.
I'm sure. Now, that's not real snow, is it, Matt?
Oh, no, it's not.
The
Okay.
reindeer
Look at the
too.
reindeer.
There's
Yes.
a reindeer.
Yay.
There's
Oh, there
Santa.
it is. Yep, and there we go. All the confetti and the
And look at the
snow.
floaties on, the detail on the floaties
Yes.
on, too.
Beautiful.
It's great.
It's amazing.
I have learned most recently how to make reindeer food.
No kidding.
I would be happy to
Well, the
share
bigger
with our
question
friends
is
who are
why?
watching.
Why?
I have children.
Okay. Why don't you don't eat
So
it?
we need to make sure that we can't just take care of Santa with cookies.
Yes.
We got to take care of our reindeers.
We have the recipe, too.
And as everybody is coming through, we still have some more antique trucks. We still have the Lancers as they're walking off, thanking everybody for being a part of this wonderful event and this wonderful parade.
Yes, you know, we want to thank you, PAC TV, for putting this on. Tremendous shots. You guys are really pros, and it is phenomenal to see
Professional
this.
job.
And
Yeah.
we have all these organizations working together voluntarily. You know, that's what makes a community more like a home. I remember, never forget the comment, someone came up and they said, hey, we want to thank you, Plymouth Rock Foundation, for your help. I said, for what? And they said, you turned Plymouth into a living room. I never forgot that phrase because that was like, hey, there's community all working together. We're all friends. We can joke with each other. I can make fun of him.
Yeah.
And he's okay with it, you know?
You know, we also need to thank our, our police, our fire,
Absolutely,
our EMS,
absolutely.
Our security.
Homeland Security, for making us all, safe and really enjoying this parade.
Absolutely.
And everybody who participates, the folks who come down and who are here to celebrate and are here to thank everybody participating in the parade. Everybody gets such wonderful feedback from the crowds that literally line the route from beginning to end.
That's right.
We are very honored
Yeah, go ahead.
to be partners with America's Hometown Thanksgiving, with Plymouth Rock Foundation, with the folks at Channel 5, with everybody else who helps bring this to everyone. I don't know if our viewers realize we have a couple of new partners of late last year and this year, the folks from Telview, who have been bringing this today live to television sets in people's houses in Tennessee and in Florida and around the country, and our friends from here, Boston, and Chuck Nilasek, who have also are streaming our feed worldwide for folks. So if you want to know how to see this parade or share it with your friends and family, if you're lucky enough to be watching today and be able to watch it over Thanksgiving, please go to pactv.org/parade, and you're going to be able to see all of the details as to how you can either watch it through your local community television stations or online. We're so excited to continue to bring it to you, and there is that light, that one light that lights 1,000.
One small candle, that's what that's all about. And the Pilgrims would never have dreamed of what would have come from their little experiment. It's self-government, just like that candle, one little
small
thing.
candle.
And yet, that's what we want to remind people about too. In your communities, Thanksgiving, a handshake and a thank of a veteran, a handshake, thank of someone who volunteered, it goes farther than you'll ever know. Just one word of kindness, one statement, and because we need to overcome the all dissidents, we can do that by love and kindness.
A day of giving and giving back to each other.
That's right.
Yep.
So,
gentlemen,
excellent.
thank you both for being here with us today.
Hey, this has been wonderful.
I want to thank our entire
Again.
crew, everybody who's a part of making this happen.
right.
It's an honor to be here.
And listen, everyone should enjoy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
God
Happy
bless
Thanksgiving.
America. You see that flag, and thank each other and give thanks for all that you have.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Amen.
For all of us in America's Hometown Thanksgiving and PAC TV, thank you for joining us. Happy holidays.